I didn't know you guys eat baked beans in America. I thought it was a British thing.
Well, maybe that's why we eat baked
Well,
beans.
yeah, but like people are like beans on toast is so British. I didn't know
Okay,
that.
but well, we don't put it on toast. We're
Okay.
civilized. Hey everyone, welcome back to Chef Tyler's Croatian Kitchen. Today we have the Croatian version of baked beans. This recipe comes from my friend Ivica, who has been pestering me about making this recipe, so here we go. Baked beans are a staple at American barbecues, so at your next barbecue, you can add some flair and make the Croatian version, which is just as good, if not better, and has some extra ingredients like bacon. There's really not much else to say. They're beans and they're good. They're good for your health and not good for the people around you. So make sure that either everyone's eating the beans or I don't know, you have COVID and you can't smell. I'm going with canned beans because it's just so much easier. But you can use fresh beans if you want. Just make sure that you let them soak overnight and then you cook them a little bit more before putting them into the tray. Other thing, a word of the tray. Ivica told me that we have to use ceramic, and this is not ceramic. The reason is I don't have a ceramic tin big enough. We did some math before. Okay, you know what? I am an engineer.
You know how to calculate the radius of a circle?
I do. Mjerenje, but in English. Ruler maybe?
Would you like a ruler?
There should be one on my iPhone.
There's one on my phone, and it's
Here we
an
go.
Android.
It's called Measure. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
I failed calculus, so this is very intriguing to me.
Oh, I should have known. This is 9 inches. Okay. Hold on.
Do math under pressure.
4.5 squared times pi. Where's that? Okay, this is 63. Let's see here. And then back to measure. And it's 1 inch deep. So that's 63 square cubic inches. Now this.
You've lost me.
12 and a half by 8 and a half. So 12.5. That's 8.5. That's already going to be bigger.
Okay, then use that.
Okay, 2 inches. So yeah, it's 206 cubic inches. I think we'll use this.
What the heck is a cubic
That's
inch?
why, Ivica, we're not using ceramic. So the reason Ivica said that we should be using ceramic or glass is that ceramic and glass can hold on to heat a lot longer. Granted, it takes longer for them to heat up, but it does hold on to that heat once it's there, and it allows for a better heat distribution. Metal is prone to getting hot spots, but in an oven, I don't really think it makes a difference. That's the nice thing about the oven, the temperature is generally constant. So use what you have. The baked beans will turn out great because you made them and no one else. So there's not really much else to say about the beans, so let's just get right into the ingredients. Of course, we have beans. This is about 500 grams or 1 pound. Yeah, it seems like a lot, but beans are good. And that's interesting for me saying that because I never used to like beans. And then once I started eating and then, of course, making grasa kobasicom, I have been converted to certain bean dishes. Beans I'm using are brown beans. In the US, those will be your pinto beans, but you can use any kind of bean that you like. I just tend to like brown a bit more, and I think brown works better for baked beans. We have 1 onion, chopped, 3 cloves of garlic, minced. Now, Eva's recipe did not include garlic, but I thought that was incorrect because garlic makes everything better. So I threw garlic in there. But if you want to be more traditional, there's no garlic. Every other recipe that I found for baked beans does not include garlic. I don't know why. Garlic is good. So, use garlic. We're not vampires. We have half a cup of bacon, although this is speck, but it's about basically the same thing. Any kind of dried meat will do, even pancetta. I have these in these little like rectangular prisms called lardons. You can taste them if you'd like, but Ivica said lardons, so lardons we are doing. I've already messed this recipe up by adding in garlic. We also have tomato sauce. This is a lot. We're not actually using all of this. We're only going to need about like 2 tablespoons just to add in a little bit of tomato flavor. I wouldn't do much more than that. You want really the flavor of the beans mixing with the bacon, not so much the tomato. It's just there in the background. We have flour, and like the tomato sauce, we're not using a lot of it. We're just going to use about a tablespoon, and that's to thicken up the baked beans. And for our spices, we have, of course, salt, pepper, and paprika. It's like the Croatian trifecta of spices. And we also have some parsley. If you have fresh parsley, I'd go with fresh parsley. Just cut it up a little bit and throw in towards the end. But I didn't. I just have dried, so I'm going to put it in earlier because of that. Let the water reconstitute some of the leaves. So that's about it. We're going to go head on over to the stove to get started. And once we get over there, we'll turn our oven on to 220 degrees Celsius or 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're over here at the stove. I have the oven preheating, and I threw a little bit of lard here into the pan to start melting. We're going to take our meat first and add it in as well. I'm not waiting for the lard to fully melt because there is some fat on the meat that I want to render out. And that's also why I only used maybe like a little less than a tablespoon of lard because I'm trying to get some of that fat out of the meat and render, and we can cook in that. So this we want to like cook just for a couple minutes on low heat. That way we can render out as much fat as possible until the pieces of meat just start to get brown. And then we'll add in our onions. And once the bacon starts to just get brown, we're going to go and add in just the onions, not the garlic yet. A little piece flew in anyway. Place this down, stir everything together, lower the heat a little bit more, and take our lid and put it on. The reason we're putting the lid on is we want this to steam, and then the onion doesn't start to brown, it just sweats. We want to leave it like this until it gets translucent, about 5 minutes. After a couple minutes, we'll take off the lid and give everything a quick stir. You might see that the onions have gotten a little bit golden, but they're not brown. That golden color is coming from the browning of the meat beforehand. You can tell too that that's the case because they're not going to be darker around the edges. It's going to have the same color throughout the entire piece of onion. So I just went ahead, turned the heat up just a little bit. Now we're going to add in the garlic for about 1 minute until fragrant. And once you can smell the garlic, we'll go ahead and add in our beans. I had them in the sink just straining. We'll go and add directly into our pot. Now this is the case where if you were using fresh beans, you'd want to cook these for a little bit longer than we're going to here. Just going to stir everything together. I'm going to cook for about 1 minute. As it's cooking though, we're going to start adding in all of our extras. So about 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. This is like a teaspoon, so that's why I'm putting in 6. And dropping some on the floor. Give a little stir. Let's go some pinch of salt. A little bit of pepper. Maybe a pinch of parsley. More paprika. I'm going to do about maybe 2 teaspoons. Give everything a nice mix. And let everything fly everywhere. That's just 1 bean down. And of course, some flour. About 1 tablespoon. Give it all a stir and let it cook for a further minute. After cooking for a minute, turn off the heat and we'll transfer our beans into the tray. And then we'll add our tin into our oven. We did end up changing the pie tin into the smallest ceramic because the other metal one was a little bit too big. And now we actually are in compliance with Ivica's recommendation of using ceramic. Let this sit in here for 20 minutes or until it develops a crust on top. And after 20 minutes, we'll remove our beans from the oven and it's ready to serve. You can feel the top has gotten nice and crispy. but underneath you can feel it's very soft, and this is what we're going for. So, with our trusty spatula, let's cut a little piece, maybe like a triangle, kind of make it like a pizza almost. And just a little bit here for viewing and tasting. Here we have Zapec Grah. Caitlin's observations that it smells good, and she is correct. It smells amazing. The entire apartment is filled with the wonderful aroma of baked beans. But we're not here just to smell the baked beans. Let's go ahead and give a taste for Greg. Right through the top so you get all the crunchy and nice soft parts underneath. If you don't like beans, this is definitely the meal to try, as you have the crispiness on the top, but also the nice, smooth, almost melt in your mouth creaminess from the beans underneath. The perfect combination, crisp and cream, baked beans. Go ahead and try it. Zapec. The reason that we've said that we should be using plastic. Can you imagine?
That would be bad. You have to use plastic.
You have to use plastic, all right?
Rule.
If you're not getting that taste of BPA in your beans, you're doing it wrong.
Microplastics are the flavor of the dish.